It's not an addiction. There's a difference.
I think so. Like with alcohol, there's a big difference. Mm-hmm. And with most other drugs too, where, of course this is extreme, but you know, my best friend that OD'd on heroin, he was doing something else. Actually, he died on the cocaine, had a heart attack. And no matter how hard it was for him to kick, you're talking like 4 days in bed, sweating profusely. And he told me why they call it kicking. Mm-hmm. Because you lay in bed and you just kick the bedpost. It's just like any other kind of pain other than what your entire body is going through. He said it's like the worst thing they'll ever experience. But no matter how long he was off, there was always that want. It was always there in the back of his mind. And there's different, I've learned a lot about addiction just from my friends and stuff. There's triggers. Mm-hmm. And things that trigger the want for it. And one of his big time, he never told me, but I knew, was going out of town. And I know it had to do with like his family and all that stuff. And I heard the stories after I moved away from Hawaii, because he was selling pot on the islands and stuff. And I hooked him up with some of my friends, and they would tell me just like some of the ridiculous, outrageous, unbelievable behavior of like shooting up on people's lawns and stuff like this, and it's just like fucking insane.
That's crazy.
When I went to San Francisco, I don't know, I might have told some of you guys, but he died on a trip with me. And we went to a bar. He was clean. He was supposedly clean. And but he wasn't. He was married for a long time. He had 2 little girls, Honey and Marley, and they were, I think, 3 and 6. And we were going up to see the first game, Jets game, first game of the season when they played the Niners. When they went into overtime, and off the first play, Hurst, I think, ran it back for a touchdown, 98 yards. I knew you would know. And we were going to that game. I was working for Merv Griffin at the hotel, the Beverly Hilton. His son comped me a room up at the Beverly Hilton at the Hilton Towers in San Francisco. And we went up there, and Mike was the nicest guy that you ever want to meet, and I say this from the bottom of my heart. He was an asshole, and I knew the guy for like close to 20 years, and he was an asshole on the way up there. He must have had like $5 grand in his pocket, and on the plane, he's like, "Hey, watch this," and this is shit he would never do. He ordered like a couple beers from the stewardess, and he gives her like 100. He had other money, but he knew that she couldn't give him change for that. And it was just to fuck with her. And he's not that kind of guy. He's the kind of guy that would give her 100 and say, "Keep it." I kid you not. And he was just being like kind of weird, and I didn't understand why. And on the trip, on the plane, he told me that his wife kicked him out. And then everything kind of started coming out. And as soon as we got there, it's like, well, you know, let's deal with this later. Let's just have fun this weekend, kind of a thing. And it's like, cool. So we get to the hotel, we check in, we have a couple of drinks down in the lobby bar, and then we head on out, hit one bar, run into a couple guys. They're like, "Oh, you got to check out this bar, blah, blah, blah." We went over, and oh no, actually we're walking down Market Street in San Francisco, because I knew there was a couple strip bars. That's where the whole trip, football, strip bars, drinking. And we're walking down there, and we duck into this bar, and we were shooting pool, and this weird looking dude that, like, I think he just got out of jail. I wasn't paying attention. He looked like a skinhead, and he was just kind of irritating to me. He said something about sick. I was sick, something like that, sick. And I heard Mike just go, "Dope sick," and then they disappeared. Dope sick is when you're going through withdrawals. And they disappeared, and I was furious. This was like, must have been like an hour and a half he was gone, and I was fucking pissed. As a matter of fact, I told the bartender to call me a cab. And when he showed back up, the cab was at the curb. And I'm like, "Fuck, dude, I'm leaving you, man. Fuck this shit, you know?" And he's like, no, it's totally cool. And he jumps in the cab, and we get back to the hotel. And as soon as we get in the hotel, he ducks into the bathroom. And I fucking knew what was going on. I knew it was going on. And he was supposedly clean. And all those bathrooms have the little lock on the outside that you can put any key or your thumbnail and open it up. And he was in there way too long to be taking a piss. So I opened it up, and he's cooking his shit in a spoon. And I just look at him like, "This is not why I fucking came here. You're supposed to be fucking clean. Fuck you. Fuck this shit. I'm fucking out of here." And I walked out. I walked down to the lobby bar, had a couple drinks, started talking to some dude. Bobby came up to the room after I calmed down, maybe an hour later, and he was dead on the bed. And
Wow.
his lips were blue. I didn't know he was dead. I had no idea. He was back with his arms over his head, just laying on the bed. And Mike was one of those guys. He had man. I always used to say he had the Calvin Klein underwear body. This guy was fucking chiseled. He was like, he had the if I could have anybody's body, it would have been his. Through all of these years since I knew him of excess and drinking, and he would go out and eat like a king. He had a shitload of cash. He had like 6 or 7 houses he was growing dope in, and he just was making so much money. And he would go out to dinners and spend like $1,000, you know. And it was like finest wines, finest this, finest, and just eat like a pig. And he was getting fat, just like a big belly. And he was laying on the bed, and I just walk in, and I'm just like, I smack him on the stomach. I'm like, get up, motherfucker. And it was ice cold. And I just like flipped out. And I started giving him mouth to mouth, and I tried giving him CPR on the bed, but the bed with the springs, you can't get any push. So I dragged him off of the bed, and it's just like, when do you stop? When do you give up on your best friend? And I don't know how long I was doing it. I was doing it a really long time, and it's something that I'll never shake out of my mind ever. When you give somebody that's dead mouth to mouth, the taste of death fills up your lungs, and it's something that you'll never ever forget. The sound of no muscles making tension on your lips, and like the flapping noise that comes out of somebody's mouth as the air that pushed into their lungs comes out is something that will never ever go away. The dead glaze on your best friend's eyes, like a dead goldfish in a bowl.
Wow.
You never forget. And the first thing I did was I called my wife at the bar, and I was flipping out. What was really weird was I was like really calm through the whole thing. I think I was. At least I was composed enough to do what I thought I needed to do. And I realized that he was dead, but I wouldn't admit it to myself.
Yeah.
And I got on the phone, and I called Janine at the bar, and I was flipping out so bad that she couldn't hear with the noise and stuff, and she hung up on me. She didn't know who it was. And I called back, and I asked for the manager. It was a good friend of mine, Tommy, and he was just like, I guess all I was saying was like, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. And he was just like, dude, stop, call 911. You have to call 911. And that's what I did. And I was kind of freaked out, and there was like, as I was looking around waiting for the police, there was like some bundles of heroin laying around, and I didn't know if I should like take them and flush them. And it was like, what's the point? It didn't matter, you know. So I just like sat in the corner of the room and just cried until the police came, and paramedics came, and they dragged me out and put me in another room. And I kept asking, even though I knew he's dead, I kept asking, is he dead? And yeah, he was dead. So the concierge at the front desk, they were so fucking awesome. I don't even remember them asking for my flight or my airline or anything. I might have given it to, I can't remember any of it. It was just like a blur. And they changed my flight for me, and they got me the first flight out in the morning. And then I came back to LA and spent some time with Janine, and we got in the car. And I had to go over and tell his wife that her husband was dead.